11 St. Lucia T10 Blast cricket tournament. We earlier on witnessed the first game and we are into game number 2. The Micoud Eagles versus the Vieux North Raiders, and we're going to go out in the middle to find out what happened at the toss.
Heads.
Okay, tells it is the Micoud Eagles. They've won the toss. And what are you going to do?
We're going to bowl first.
So Micoud Eagles is going to bowl first. Is there any reason why you guys were going to bowl first?
No, we're just trying to. We're just going to try to change the strategy around. Try to bowl him out on the 80 and have the batsman to do the job.
Okay, so there's a strategy. Mervyn Wells, the captain of Micoud Eagles, so he wants to change things around. Are there any changes to your team?
Yeah, Winnell came in for Ted Augustine.
Okay, so Winnell Felix. Winnell Felix comes in for Ted Augustine. Mervyn Wells, we want to wish you all the best in today's game.
Yeah, thanks.
As we will talk to Mr. Al Prince, the losing captain, not the losing team, the losing captain, Mr. Al Prince. You've won your first game. So tell me about the confidence within your camp now.
Well, first of all, I want to thank the Almighty for reaching us first. And on behalf of Vieux North, I want to congratulate Darren Sammy on being the head coach of West Indies. Well, for the past 4 years, Vieux North has never bat first in Dream 11. So today we get a chance to put some runs on the board. I trust my batsman, and I believe the batting lineup we have there, we can go out and squat this at 120.
Okay, so we see Al Prince giving us some history there. Vieux North has never batted first from the inception of the Dream 11 T10. So they are going to be batting first today. Al, can you give us the composition of your team? Tell us who's in, who's out.
Okay, we have one change. We have Hilarion Smith in for Sean Ogis.
Okay, so viewers, you heard it. Hilarion Smith comes in for Sean Ogis. Al, I know your confidence are high. You're going against a very experienced team also. I want to wish you all the best in today's game and the rest of the tournament.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir.
As we see, again, we see the pitch. The cracks look like they've just opened up just a touch. In the earlier game, we saw some balls just keeping low, just staying as a touch low from the players' pavilion end. But from the commentary booth end, still the very same carry that they've been getting from the very first game. But the pitch looks really good. It is held up for the first. This is the fifth game. This is the fifth game or the sixth game of the Dream 11 2023 Dream 11 tournament so far, and the pitch have held up well. So kudos to the Crafton and his groundsmen. They've done a fantastic job so far. But we look forward to another fantastic game from the Vieux North Raiders and the not the Monrepo Eagles, but the Micoud Eagles.
Yes, so we just did it from Gary Maffrey and the two captains out in the middle. Julian, certainly should shape up to be a good game. The Micoud Eagles, they lost their first match, and the Vieux Raiders, they were victorious. As a matter of fact, they defeated the defending champion, the Monrepo Stars. They chased down the score of 91. So just looking at the two teams very quickly, for the Monrepo Eagles and the Vieux North Raiders. For the Eagles, we have Sherwin Charles as the captain, Mervyn Wells, Merlan Sammy, Darren Sammy Jr., Lance Sammy, Curtin Jules, Swaylan Ogis, Ted Jonas, Michael Shalry, Sanjay Pamphil, and Winnell Felix. And for the Vieux North Raiders, Al Prince, Owen Edward, Dwight Thomas, Kurt Edward, Hilarion Smith, Junior Peter, who is the wicketkeeper, Rick Moses, Danley Anthony, Dexter Solomon, Tyrone Theophil, and Dean Edward. So certainly, Julian, some names that are familiar to us in both teams.
Yes, and Micoud will be very keen to get back to winning ways, having lost the first game. And of course, they've got at least two individuals in the top 10 highest run getters in the Dream 11 in St. Lucia, in
Moving Wales
Moving
and
Wales
Chauvin Charles.
Chauvin Charles, and they're explosive. They're very explosive batsmen and very experienced as well. And of course, there's Merlin Summy, the younger brother of Darren Summy, who we know his potential. You know, he's known to hit some really big sixes, and he didn't get going the last game, but of course he's very talented as well. So no Darren Summy today, but hopefully he'll be able to get back in the tournament, or he must be out celebrating the fact that
yes, I just about saying, Julian, the fact that we're saying there's no Darren Summy, for persons who perhaps have not heard the news that Darren Summy has been appointed the white ball coach of the West Indies senior men's team.
Yes, indeed, a position that we're sure that he will do well in. It's not going to be an easy job, but he's the one who is well equipped, having just recently retired from the game, should be very familiar with the players, familiar with all the new techniques and the new way of analyzing games and analyzing players, the video stuff aspect of it, and of course he's an individual who is always very confident.
Yes, certainly so. It's a new challenge for him, and we're gonna wish him the best of luck. So we out in the middle, Julian, we see the two openers for the Vieux North Raiders, Dean Edward and Danley Anthony, who batted extremely well in the last game.
Yes, indeed. He's surprised, for those who haven't seen much of Denley, he surprised quite a lot with some really nice, crisp, authentic, orthodox shots, beautiful to watch for the offside, and then he was able to launch into the off spinners, hitting them high over mid wicket. We know what Dane is capable of. Dane Edwards having played in the West Indies on the 16th tour of England some time ago, so he's one who had a very solid platform as a youngster, still a young player in his early 20s.
Yes, so these two certainly would want to get the Vieux North team off to a good start. And the Micoud Eagles, Michael Shallery will be opening the bowling. And first delivery on the legs, and Dean has just clipped this one towards the backward square region, and it has gone all the way for 6. So the best of start that the Vieux North Raiders could have wanted, Julian.
They're short of a man who appears to have been batting for quite a while, almost probably on 100 already. Just picked it up so lovely, and the ball, as you said, landed well outside the boundary. Beautiful shot, must have traveled a good 80-something meters or so.
Yes, so not the sort of start that Michael Shallery and the Micoud Eagles would have wanted. So 6 without loss after just one delivery. And good delivery there by Shallery, right on the money, Yorker length. All Dean could have done, Julian, was just look to dig this one out.
Yes, indeed. It was a full length ball coming back in with the breeze, I take it, and then keeping his eyes on it and just squeezing it out in the offside, where the fielder was able to stop any runs.
And driving this one to the fielder. It looks like Lansami at mid-on. So after 6 of the first delivery, 2 good comeback deliveries there by Shallery.
Yes, indeed. It seemed to have settled down into a line and length quickly.
And Edwards not quite ready, just pulling out. Don't think this is one of the things that the fast bowlers enjoy at all, Julian, when they're about to approach the stumps to see the batsman pull away.
And they normally react, not in gentlemanly fashion, the next delivery. Let's see what's going to happen.
A bit of chin music most times. And this one, the shot got into position quickly. Look, so pull this one today. mid wicket region. It looks like Pamphil. Yes, Stanji Pamphil, number 99. Just throwing himself around there. Saving a few runs there. Julian, had that ball gone past him, perhaps would have gotten very close to the boundary.
Absolutely. It was a good shot by Dane Edward. He waited on it. It was a little slower than he anticipated. And he played the shot in a very orthodox manner, in the approved textbook manner.
Good shot there by Danley, just getting on one foot a la Gordon Greenidge, just helping this one off the hip there, just get past the fielder at the short backward square region and picking up 40 light for the runs there.
Yeah, Denley continuing from where he left off the last game, looking quite good, well organized, a good organized technique, and getting into this one in a flash, and the ball disappearing through backward square leg for 4.
It's a good start there by the Vieux North Raiders. And this one lofted drive there, one bounce over the rope there. So good positive intent there showed there by Danley, just hitting through the line, Julian. What a shot.
Yeah, it's beautiful batting by both of these gentlemen. Danley in particular, this delivery, getting it pitched up, and he got into it, hit it firmly over the bowler's head, and kept the pose for a while. Approved textbook fashion, coaching manual stuff, and the ball speeding away across the very fast Darren Summer cricket ground.
Yes, so 15 after 1. A good start there by the Vieux North Raiders. Denley on 8, and Edward Danley Anthony, that is on 8, and then Edward on 7. So a very good start, Julian. Some 15 runs off the first over.
Yes, and that's without taking any chances, playing proper cricket shots. And clearly the field inside has to take stock, because this cannot be allowed to continue for very long.
Well, we saw Central Castries yesterday had a very explosive start. So it looked like Pamphil would be operating from the Players Pavilion end, number 99. It's a good delivery outside the off stump. Certainly Pamphil will need to pull this one back for the Micoud Eagles. First over being on the expensive side. And then just giving him the charge. The appeal has gone up, and the umpire has finally raised the finger. So Pamphil getting a breakthrough there for the Micoud Eagles. Then Edward just flashing at one that was a bit wide outside the off-stump. Julian really reaching out for this one and getting a faint edge there, and immediately we saw the appeal from the bowler and the wicket keeper, and the Vieux North Raiders, they have lost their first wicket. Then Edwards going caught behind.
Yes, indeed. Then departing from what he had done earlier, where he had just allowed the ball to come to him, this time he seemed to have just given himself some room, and the ball was wide of the off stump, and he chased it and got a thin edge through to the wicket keeper. But Greg, it would have been best had he just held on to what he had been doing before, just playing the ball on its merit. But I think this time he tried to manufacture a shot, and the ball, and because he stepped away from the ball, he made the shot a little harder.
Certainly, indeed. So one Edward replaces another. Kurt Edward is replacing his brother, Dean Edward.
And Cook is quite literally the bigger brother, the older brother, and as you could see, he's a very muscular player, a former Windward Islands under 19 player, just like his brother, who just got out a while ago. A decent fast bowler in his time, but now concentrated mostly on his batting.
Yes, last year he played a few good innings therefore. And first ball there, just hitting over the top of the point region, and the ball has raced into the boundary for 4. So certainly Kurt has come out with some good positive intention there, Julian.
Yes, indeed, and he split the shot exactly. It was exactly what his brother should have done with the ball before, because he held his ground and the ball came through nicely outside the off stump and carved it off the front foot over point for 4.
So Edward immediately off the mark, and this has forced a change in the field. The man has dropped to the point boundary, and the man at the long off boundary have come into the circle. So Edward been very cautious on this occasion, just allowing this one to go through to the keeper.
And Edward has held his line nicely, Greg, during this over. He's got a 7-2 field, a very demanding field, and so far he has held his own.
Yes, Pampil has done a good job for his captain so far. And this one again hitting it on the up, but this time he's not going to get 4. The fielder comes around from the point boundary, restrict them to just 1 run. So certainly Sanjay Pampil, Julian, is bowling to his field, a 7-2 field. This is not something that you see too often in cricket, and especially in T10 cricket.
Yeah, very little, especially also the umpires are so strict on the wides. But he's been able to keep this line, this immaculate line outside the off stump.
So this one driven back to the bowler, fields to his own bowling, the end of a good over for the Micoud Eagles, an over in which Pampil just conceded 5 runs, but most importantly, Julian, he picked up the wicket of Dane Edward.
Yes, indeed. Dane Edwards, the dangerous-looking Dane Edwards, who had clipped his very first ball for 6, and Pampil was able to subdue him to the point of sending him back to the pavilion. So a good start by Pampil, and at the end of the day, one would say the match is pretty even after just 2 overs.
Yes, 20 runs going at 10 and over, but they have lost the opener, Dane Edward. So we see number 53, which should be Kirsten Jules, will be taking up the attack from the media center end. And this one short and wide outside the off stump. Edward on this occasion, Julian, looking to play a cross-batted shot. Perhaps it would have been best advised to look to spunk this one through the cover region. Because
Yes.
once he had got the ball past the inner ring, this certainly could have gone for 4.
That's right. Trying to hit it too hard, as we have seen with so many batsmen. Not necessarily, because the outfield is so fast. So the timing is what's really required.
And this one wide outside the off stump. Flashes at this one. Ball goes through to the keeper. Edward a bit cross with himself. Perhaps missed out on an opportunity.
Yes, and the bowler, very lucky, as I would think of Jules. Twice now it seemed to be just marginal as to whether it was a wide or not.
So it's a question whether Kurt Edward will be full-time lucky if he gets an opportunity again. And this one perhaps hurried him a bit. Julian looked like this one had a bit of pace.
Yes, indeed, coming back and making some good height. Batsman Cook, I think, probably looking for it outside the off stump, because the message is clear now that the bowlers are bowling a foot or 2 outside the off stump. Jules employing a 6 free field, unlike his partner with a 7-2, but basically the same technique, really, just to keep this ball hanging outside the off stump.
So the captain, Sherwin Charles, has made a change. Pampil has been dropped into the mid-wicket cow corner region, and Shalri has been brought into the circle at the mid-off. And this one is short, and oh, spectacular catch there Is that Sammy? Mulan Sammy?
Mulan Sami.
Oh, this one was a blinder. Short ball and could really cut this one through the cover one, and Mulan Sammy is diving at full length and just picking this one off inches off the ground. My goodness, Charlo, the catch of the tournament so far.
This is easily one of the best catches you will ever see in your lifetime. This one was short outside the off stump, and Kurt Edwards, quite a big man, latched onto it, and Merlin Summy, diving full length to his right, was able to come up with this ball. Certainly a blinder and one for the ages.
Yes, certainly. These are some of the catches that you can pay big money to watch. I think anybody who's coming to the facility today would be quite satisfied with that sort of effort from Sammy, and really it was spectacular indeed. So I don't think, as a batsman, if you get out to a catch like this, Julian, you cannot feel bad.
You cannot feel bad at all. You have to say that you are pretty much unlucky, or the bowler deserved to get the wicket, the fielder deserved to catch it. It is not a catch that the TV can really do justice to. You really need to see this live, ball spunked away, traveling at high velocity, and Sammy diving full length, parallel to the ground, comes up with this ball.
So the Vieux North Raiders, they have lost the two brothers to Edwards, and it looked like another Edward. Owen Edward is at the crease. So Julian, we have 3 Edwards in construction at the crease. So we had Dean Edward, we had Kirk Edward, and now Owen Edward.
Owen, I don't think Owen is a relation, but that's subject to correction.
Well, Owen is from the south, and these two are from the north way. So, but there's a possibility. It's a small country, Julian.
That's right.
358 square mile. We all could be related. An edge on it is dropped. A poor effort there by the fielder at slip. The ball went in and then out. So the possibility of Jules picking up a second wicket and Raiders losing their foot, but a poor effort, one would say.
Yes.
When you say the sort of effort that we saw early on from Mulan Sami.
Yes, indeed. This one was short outside the off stump. The bowlers keeping to the strategy really of just holding that line outside the off stump. The batsman fished at it to catch. Should have been taken. There was plenty time for the fielder to spot the ball, and he watched it right in his hands, just his left, and did not hold on. It's something that they may very well pay for.
Yes, so Edward could consider himself lucky, Owen that is, to have been given a life. So Pampil will be continuing from the northern end, continuing to bowl to that remarkable 7-2 field. And this one is wrapped on the pads, appealed for, and attempted run out there because Owen was out of his crease, but overthrow in the process, and they are going to come for. They're going to run 2. Is it going to be 2 leg by, or was there any bat involved? Well, apparently there was bat involved. We saw absolutely no signal. Perhaps this is what saved
this
Owen
is
Edwards.
what saved Owen, because it looked.
The umpire has just signaled leg by.
Wow, well, he's lucky to get away with this because this looked pretty much out.
So this one is signal wide on this occasion.
Very good bowling again, as we keep saying, a 7-2 field, and he's held his line and has Pamfield, and just surprising the batsman, bringing one onto the stumps, and now in playing across it, and my word, he's pretty lucky to be still out there.
Yes, certainly indeed. This one outside the off stump. I went flash it at this one. So good disciplined bowling there by Sanjay Pamphil. Able to bowl to a 7-2 field. And been very consistent just outside the off stump there. So. Yokerland delivery there, so Pamphile, Julian, continues to make life difficult out there for the batsman.
Indeed, because he's holding his line and occasionally he brings this one sharply back into the batsman, and the second occasion our winners had to dig it out from the middle stick.
And this occasion is wide down the leg side, good take there by the wicket keeper. So for the first time in Julian, we're seeing that Pamphile really straying away from the discipline line he has been bowling.
Yes, he must be encouraged by what he's seen when the batsman plays across the wicket. So he's just changed his line a little. Let's see how long he will last with this change.
And back over the offside again, just close enough to that trump line. So just out of reach of the batsman.
This batsman should be thinking of maybe changing his guard, using an off-stump guard, because it's only a shot, it's only 60 balls to face. So we really cannot let all these balls go by.
Again outside the off-stump.
Keeping the trifle low and going through to the wicketkeeper. So Pamphile has bowled five balls in this over. Don't think there's been just the 2 overthrows and seriously tight piece of bowling.
Yes, the 2 overthrows, and I think it was a wide.
And a wide, yes.
And this time it's been struck just outside the off stump. But Pamphile, certainly remarkable bowling there by Pamphile. Is 2 overs, 1 for 7.
Yes, indeed, a very close call again. Extremely close. Looking at the replay, this one looked like it hit him just on about off stump. It touch and go, whether it was outside the off stump or on the off stump. When playing across the line and completely missing the ball.
So the umpire has just signaled the end of the power play. 25 for 2.
Just some 5 runs coming in the last 2 overs, I make it.
Yes, so certainly good bowling there by well, actually, Julian, when you look at the first over, they considered some 15 runs. And since then, they have only scored 10 runs in the last 3. So they're going at less than 4, just 3.33 there about, less than 4 runs and over.
Yes, indeed. This one shot outside the off stump and lifting, so a lot more energy in this delivery from Jules. The fact that the players are playing and missing must be energizing the bowlers and raising the expectations.
And this one is powerfully struck there by Denley Anthony. And is racing to the boundary for 4. So certainly, Julian, they have really lost the momentum after the first over. And they've lost 2 wickets, and the scoring rate has slowed down tremendously. So if they are to get anything competitive, you would need Denley Joseph to play a good hand.
Yes, indeed. But it's been very good bowling by the bowlers. They've really stuck to the task.
And they're really looking to muscle this one, losing the shape in the process. The ball coming off the inner half portion of the bat, goes to the square leg region, and they're able to scamper through for a single. So certainly they are just about the halfway mark, and they would need to up the ante, having lost just 2 wickets. They need to put something competitive on the board. We saw earlier on the runs scored there by the South Castries Lions were chased down very easily by Mount Report Stars.
And Owen, I take it, is really struggling because Denley have been starved of the strike for quite some time. We will double check to see how many balls he's actually faced. But Owen seemed to have had a lot of the strike.
Owen has faced some 9 deliveries for just 1 run. And flashes and misses again. So from the first match Owen played on the opening day on Wednesday, Julian, we realized that Owen perhaps have not really been playing cricket for a while because he's really been struggling out there.
Yes, indeed. But we're saying that he should probably adjust his guard.
Or look to rotate strike.
Yeah.
And he's playing a fortune shot into the cover region and it is dropped. So not the best of effort there by Mervyn Saga Wells.
Yes, Mervyn Wells fought the ball. I got the impression that he thought the ball was coming to him and he was not quick enough to take off. And in the end, he thought that maybe just putting in a little dive would have been sufficient. But he found himself struggling to get his hands under the ball and was not able to hold on to what should have been a regulation catch.
Yes, so the going has been tough for the Beaufort North Raiders after 15 runs coming up the first over. They really struggled, unable to get any double-digit scores in the remaining 4 overs. So a little more from Julian, and then it's going to be Gary Maffrey.
Yes, indeed. Micoud continue to turn the screws here against Beaufort North Raiders. Denley, Anthony looks pretty good, but Owen Edwards is struggling. It may be not a bad idea that he's been left out there with 2 chances, meaning that he's soaking up quite a few balls, and Micoud could be well proud of the work they've done so far. Jonas bowls, a new bowler in Johannes. And this one starts off with a wide. Gary, welcome.
Good afternoon, Julian. Good afternoon, viewers. It's 42 for 2. Jonas has started off with a wide, as you can see. Anthony Owen Edward has only scored the 2 runs. Only scored the 2 runs from 11 deliveries, and again, struggling to get. Good afternoon, Julian. As we see, it's only 33 for 2. And we see Edward just struggling to get those boundaries, to get his team off of a good start. He's had 2 chances already. Anthony, 13 from 6, been starved of the strike.
A brilliant shot there by Anthony again. Anthony has shown that he's in good form, sublime form, and he cuts this one, what looks like a 4 from here. The fielders seem to be disputing it, and there seemed to be some doubt, and the umpire taking the words of the fielder that the ball did not go for 4. But it was a very good shot, a high-level shot from Denley.
Yeah, that from our vantage point, that was obviously 4 runs. Not very honest from the field there. Number 53 it is. Custun Jules, not very honest there. Nonetheless, we see Beaufort North on 35 for 2. Anthony trying his best to get them off to something substantial, and he just given up there as he comes back for 2. As we see Ted Jonas fires at the non-strikers end and missing the stumps. Good effort from him. Current run rate of 6.53. Anthony moves to 17 from 9 deliveries, and Julian, with that score at 5.4 overs, how much do you think they're going to get?
Well, they're going to struggle to get to 70 runs if they get there at all so far. One would probably have to get out, or there's a drastic change in the way they're timing the ball.
It's a wide delivery there by Ted Jonas. So he's bowled 4 deliveries. He's conceded 7 runs. As we see, the Vieux North Raiders just struggling to get those boundaries here. 38 for 2. And Captain Al Prince would have wanted a much better start from his batters. As we see, they're trying again to get 2 runs. Very good running by Arwin Edward and a good throw by Lance Sammy. Direct hit again. So we see the Micoud Eagles looking a little bit energetic in the field. Maybe could contribute that to some wickets that have fallen.
Yes, and indeed the athleticism of Mulan Sami, this brilliant catch.
Yes, Mulan Sami took a fantastic catch early on. Catches like those win matches. Another wide delivery here from Ted Jonas. So 3 wides in the over so far. None for 10 in 0.5. This is going to be his last delivery. And as we see Anthony just missing out on that cut shot there. Anthony nonetheless 19 from 11 as just a run rate of 6.81. So Vieux North Raiders with the dismissal, Julian, of the 2 Edwards. It's a little bit of slow going for them.
Yes, indeed, very slow. Danny Anthony is doing fairly well at 19 runs of 11 balls, but the issue seemed to be with Arwin Edward, who has faced 12 balls, which is 2 overs for just 3 runs. He's been given 2 chances. If you don't check what the umpires possibly gave as well. So he has really struggled there. Of course, we know him to be a high-caliber batsman, but he must have not played for a few months because he looked a shadow of himself today.
Yes, and yesterday's game, in the first game, he struggled also to score some runs. But like you say, as the tournament goes on, the players get a lot more comfortable in their game. They get a lot more confident also. But Arwin Edward, he has struggled from the first game. He's now 3 runs from 12 deliveries. But we've seen Anthony from the very first game look very, very classy when he plays his shots, and he's looked classy today with the few boundaries that we've seen him hit. So he's continued from where he left off from the first game, as we see the introduction of Lance Sammy. So Lance Sammy is going to be bowling, Darius Sammy Jr., sorry, is going to be bowling his first over. His father was just named head coach of the white ball, West Indies white ball team.
Wow.
As we see Arwin Edward again swinging for the hills and missing the entire delivery here, but got through with a leg bye. Well, byes, sorry.
And it's good to see young Darren Sammy throwing the ball up, trying to impart some spin onto it, using some guile. Normally in this kind of cricket, you see the spinners pushing through flat. But it's really nice to see him, Gary, yourself a former left armer.
Yes, we did say earlier that the spinners really not looking to spin the ball, they are looking to push it through. That wicket has been used for 5 games. This is 6th game being played on the wicket, so put something on it, you should be able to get some spin off of it. But we've seen the spinners have made a more concerted effort to bowl slower, as you see Darren Sammy Jr. just flighting that delivery there, and that ball is going over his uncle Lance Sammy's head for 6. Another juicy full toss being bowled to Anthony. Anthony moves to 26 from 13 deliveries. That brings up the 50 for Vieux North Raiders. So Vieux North Raiders have gotten to 15, 6.4 over. So very slow going by the Vieux North Raiders.
And this one from Darren Sammy as he celebrates was outside the off stump, coming back in with the arm a little quicker and flatter. This one hitting Denley Anthony somewhere above the knee roll or just about there. But then again, he was back on his thumbs and was judged out LBW. Good, clever bowling by the young Sammy.
Yes, good, clever bowling by Darren Sammy Jr. He picks up his first wicket. As he's bowled 0.4, he now has 1 for 8. So it's still another 2 deliveries, well, 1 delivery for the over, as Darren Sammy Jr. has picked up a wicket for his team. Vieux fought to read a slump to 50 for free. Still 3.1 overs remaining.
And they're really struggling to get some momentum in this inning after getting some 15 runs in the first over, which means that the next 6 overs or so, they only managed 35 runs, which would be about just about is it 6 and over? Yes.
Yes, would be just about 7. Well, they were about 7.32. Let's see. Darren Sammy just delivered that last delivery to Rick Moses. Rick Moses tries to cut that delivery and misses out. So Darren Sammy closes off the over well.
Yes, a good over by Sammy Jr. You saw the variations, you saw the ones that he sent up in the air. A little unlucky when he got hit down the ground for a 6. Thought it was a good ball, just a little full. And then Anthony, a very good player, was able to get under it and just clear the boundary. But this was really the only loose ball from the over. And good prospect, the youngster.
Yes, very good prospect. As we see, he's helped his team here pick up a wicket. As we see the introduction of his uncle. So the 2 Sammys are operating right now. So his uncle Lance Sammy is going to bowl his very first over of today's match. As you see, the captain, Shervin Charles, is ensuring that his fielders are in the correct position, as Lance Sammy is getting ready to bowl to Arwin Edward, and Arwin pulls straight to the fielder at long on, which is Darren Sammy Jr.
Yes, some rebuilding will be required, although there are not many balls to go. Just some 17 balls left in this over. So instead of rebuilding, we need to talk about boundaries now. You need some serious boundaries. And he's out.
And he's out, as we see. Lance Sammy is now celebrating by dancing. So wickets are continuing to fall for the Vieux Fort North Raiders. They move to 51 for Lance Sammy has picked up his first wicket, 1 for 1.
Mm-hmm. And but we've noticed though that there's one constant in that Arwin Edward is still there from 15 balls for 5 runs and must be putting a bit of a strain at the other end. But I suppose he will say that he needs somebody to stay there with him. But the issue is to get the scoreboard going. The scoreboard seemed to have been just stuck.
Yes, Arwin Edward hasn't scored like he would have wanted to. He just had a strike rate of 33. Dwight Thomas comes in, former national player. Not sure why Rick Moses came in before him, but maybe Captain Al is just using this as a strategy. As we see, Dwight Thomas is going to take guard.
This one a wide from Sammy. I'm trying to still keep on this offside field, this offside strategy, but too wide this time. Dwight Thomas had nothing to do with it.
And that ball is edged, that ball is pushed through the keeper's gloves there, as we see a very disappointed Lance Sami. Keeper not being able to hold on to that catch. Lance Sami wanted his second victim here, as we see Vieux Fort North 54 for 4, looking like a very different team from the first game that they've played and they won. And we see the Micoud Eagles tightening the screws there by the Vieux Fort North Raiders, and Lance now has gotten his second wicket with an edge, as we see Dwight Thomas not contributing well to the score. Dwight Thomas, he scored 2. So he's edged that ball twice.
Right.
First one getting 2, wicketkeeper dropped it. Second one, wicketkeeper has taken it.
Yes, Dwight Thomas must be feeling pretty unlucky after some of the catches that have gone down today. The good ball by Lance Sami, ball short of a length outside the off stump. Not a lot of room for Dwight Thomas to free his arms. Got an edge and the keeper took a regulation catch, which was actually more difficult than the one he put down the previous ball.
Yes, as we see the new batter, Junior Peter, who's going to come. Last season, we saw Junior Peter open the batting for the Vieux Fort North Raiders.
So when is the heavy lifting, swashbuckling captain going to walk in?
And it doesn't look like, I'm not seeing from my vantage point here, I'm not seeing that the captain Al Prince is padded up as yet, but hopefully if we get Skip falling, then Al will definitely have to come in to bat.
I think when he comes in, there will be a round of applause for him. Somehow I'm getting that feeling.
Take a long time to reach the pitch.
This one short, aggressive delivery. Batsman comes in without a helmet, and that's almost some kind of insult to the bowler. And Lance Sami reacted straight away with a short ball, not passing too far from the chin of batsman Peter.
Yes, Lance just cramping the batter, Junior Peter, for room. As Junior Peter has gotten off the mark there. It's taken the score to 54 for 5. Well, 55 for 5. 2 overs remaining. Who's going to bowl the 9th over there? And it looks like Darren Sammy Jr. is going to bowl the 9th over. His ball is first over, just the 1 for 8. Lance Sammy has picked up 2 for 5. We haven't seen the other brother bowl as yet in Merlan Sami. He hasn't bowled as yet. He bowled a very expensive over in the first game. But it doesn't look like the captain, Chauvin Charles, needs Merlan Sami to bowl today. As we see, Darren Sammy Jr. is just waiting for Junior Peter to take his guard.
This
gentle full toss being served there.
This one well flighted up.
Well flighted,
Well
right
flighted
outside of the
Sami.
off stump, and Junior just leaning back to hit that ball over cover, but wasn't able to make proper contact. And there, Junior Peter moves to 2, but he doesn't look in particularly good form compared to last season. He doesn't look. Arwin Edwards just hitting that ball through the leg side, as we see Pamphil converges on that ball as he prevents 2.
And Gary, when we get a chance, we need to speak about Merlan Sami, because it's quite. So on this, well, we'll get back to it. Lovely shot down to mid wicket. The batsman pushing for 2, coming back for it. But Merlin Sami should have been further in the game. Every time I see him play, I always say this. And to see the level of the catch, Gary, I'm not sure if you saw it, but it was a catch that any international cricketer would have been proud of as coming from the real upper draw.
Yes, that was a spectacular catch, as we see Junior Peter being bowled by Darren Sammy Jr. Darren Sammy Jr. just celebrating as Darren Sammy Jr. has mixed up his pace very, very well here, and you see he could get the results for that. So he's gotten his second scalp today, and the Vieux North Raiders not batting very smartly. They 59 for 6, and they're getting themselves into deeper and deeper trouble here, Mr. Charles.
Yeah, very good variations from Sami from the time he started bowling this afternoon, and this one a little flatter, having pitched the previous ball right up. This one was flatter, coming back in with the arm, and Peters haven't got a clue as to what to do with this ball. Hit across the line, and he was bowled.
Yes, and looks like Darren Sammy Jr. enjoying his bowling today more than yesterday. 1.4, 2 for 12. I'm certainly sure wickets will do that. As we see number 19, Solomon, Dexter Solomon comes in to bat. He will take strike. That ball is hit in the air, as we see, and Lansami was not able to get to it.
It's just one run for the batsman Solomon. This one certainly went up, was a 6 in height, but not in distance, and Lansami unable to get to it.
Very good shot there.
And finally.
Yeah, Owen Edward finally finds the boundary here. He moves to 10 from 17 deliveries. The score moves to 64 for 6 in 9 overs. Well, this will be the final over.
Yes, and Owen finally getting to the pitch of this one and lifting it up over long off for 4. He's been around for a while, as we said, 17 balls or so for 10 runs. But he will tell you that he has kept the inning together. Probably always could be worse. But it has not been a good showing by Vieux North at all this afternoon. On the other hand, you will also say that it's been brilliant bowling by Micoud, as they kept that consistent outside the off-stump line, making it very difficult for the Vieux North batsmen.
Yes, they have made it very difficult for the Vieux North batsman. And just a brilliant catch being taken by the wicketkeeper as Lansabi has picked up his 3rd scalp. Lansabi has three now for 5.
It's a tremendous catch. This one edged of a delivery that made a little more bounce and speed. And the keeper dived full length to his right and held on to the ball before tumbling to the ground and rolling over a couple of times. So Merlin Sami disappointed the last time when the catch was dropped. Elated this time to see the extra effort by the wicketkeeper.
And the man of the moment there, we see the captain, Al Prince, trying to see if he could hit a few boundaries here to give his team something to bowl at. Al Prince, the boss Al, is written on his back. He has Bravo's number, so boss Al has 47 on the back. As we see, boss Al will take strike. And remember, boss Al is the captain of the Vieux North Raiders. Is going to be facing red hot Merlan Sami, who now has 3 wickets for 5 runs.
And I would say the size of the forearms could put some fear in the bowlers. Al takes his guard and fix up his mittens and have a look around. And
will it be a bouncer to wake Al up a bit? So see more Lansami again, and Al pulls that ball successfully through the vacant dip mid-wicket boundary here, and Al helps himself to 4 runs, takes his team to 68 for 7. So Al has a scoring rate of 400 right now. So Al is definitely going to look to dispatch the rest of those deliveries. Lansami just trying the bouncer, and Al being equal to the task here. Good shot by Al to the deep mid-wicket boundary.
Al showing how it's done. I mean, some of the other players have spent most of the afternoon hitting and missing, but Al immediately got into action. This time looking to pull through mid-wicket, but it ended up at cover point. But the aggression clearly there, at least getting the ball in the middle of the bat on both occasions.
Yes, and again looking to play the pull shot. That ball looked like it hit the toe end of the bat. The ball going through the extra cover area, and Al now going to have a conversation with his batter, Owen Edward.
Probably a quick single.
Yes, Al wants to get back on strike. Very good shot by Owen Edward. That ball goes over the dip square leg boundary here for 6. So Owen Edward is now picking it up. Maybe a touch too late, but Owen has helped himself to 6. He moves on to 16 from 18 deliveries, score almost to 75 for 7, as Lansami is proving to be a bit expensive in his last few balls. The last 3 balls is proving to be a bit expensive. 2 more balls to go. Owen Edwards still on strike.
Owen clearly, finally showing us what he's capable of, which we know, of course. Here comes the quick single, and Al is through.
Very quick run there by Boss Al. Boss Al wants the strike. Good cricket there by the captain, Al Prince, ensuring that he gets a run of every delivery. Boss Al is going to take his back to face the last delivery, and he pulls, and Boss Al is going to come back for 2. Will he? Will Boss Al come back for 2? And that ball goes to the keeper's end, and no, he doesn't make it. Boss Al gets run out for 6. That is a good effort by the captain, Boss Al. It looked like Al has run the run short, so no runs for that last delivery, because Al did not get to his crease. So the umpire is now signaling a run short, and Al did not make it to the keeper's end. So no runs in the final delivery, but Boss Al definitely got some cardio in. Julian.
Yes, indeed. He ran for all his worth to try to get to the end, but was not able to make it. In fact, did not even make it for the first run. But his intent was very good. At least hitting the first ball for 4 and getting a 2 just after. Showing his team members how it's done.
And Boss Al, at one point, Julian, I thought Boss Al would have put in the dive there to save his wicket. Nonetheless, he had run the first run short. So Al did not successfully complete those runs, as we see the Micoud Eagles now in a huddle, getting some instructions from their captain. 76 for 8. So Micoud Eagles will need to score 77 to win this game. We've seen the Vieux North Raiders. They look like the bowling is a bit was much better from last year. So we'll see how they go about defending that total of 76 runs.
Yeah, we expected more from Vieux North after the good game they had a couple of days ago. So it's disappointing to see them fold up in a sense for just 77 runs in 10 overs, having such a very good start, 15 in the first. But credit must go to Micoud for sticking to the task and bowling well. Of course, it could have been even better had they taken their chances.
Yes.
But it was a fine performance by Lance Sami, also by Darren Sami Jr., and a fantastic catch again by Mulan Sami.
Yes, and we see the Micoud Eagles, they helped themselves very well in the field. As we see, look at the batting card for Vieux North Raiders. Edward 7 from 6, Anthony 26 from 14, Edward K. Edward 5, A. Edward 16, Rick Moses didn't score any, Dwight Thomas 2, Junior Peter 4, Dexter Solomon 1, and Boss Al 5 from 3. And Boss Al had a strike rate of 166. So Boss Al, not a bad strike rate there. As we see the bowling figures for the Micoud Eagles, you see Michael Shalry, 1 over for 15 runs. He had gone the distance there. As we see Sanjay Pamphile bowled fantastically well. 2 overs, 10 dot balls, 1 for 7. Kuston Jules, 2 overs, 8 dot balls, 1 for 7 also. And Ted Jonas, 1 over, none for 10. Darren Sami Jr., 2 overs, 2 for 17. Lance Sami being the pick of the bowlers, 2 overs, 3 for 16. And they have bowled out, not bowled out, but they bowled the 10 overs. And Micoud has gotten, just not Micoud, but Vieux have gotten 76. And based on their batting, that's the Micoud batting from the last game, you'd like to think, Julian, that their batting would definitely rely heavily on the 2 openers in Chauvin Charles and Movin Wells.
We have 2 very experienced former national players in Chauvin Charles and Movin Wells. Very experienced. They have seen these scenarios before. They have played very important hands for Monrepo, who they used to play for, and also for Micoud and indeed St. Lucia, and we expect them to do well in this chase. Also, Mulan Sami, a very explosive batsman. If he gets going, it could be over in a heartbeat, really. And so Micoud will feel that it's a score that's below par, but Vieux will say, well, it's on the board and it's your turn to get it.
Very much so. If the 2 opening batters in Chauvin Charles and Movin Wells. The last game they had a partnership. Well, the opening stand was 70. All right, the 70 the opening stand was before they had lost their first wicket. They need 76. So if they bat like they batted in the first game, they'll definitely get over the line here. As we see, just about 10 minutes for the between innings. So we'll take a break. And we'll come back when the Micoud Eagles get on with the chase.
This is Budapest, the magical capital of Hungary. And in August 2023, home to the World Athletics Championships, where everyday heroes meet superheroes. World Athletics Championships Budapest 2023. Witness the wonder.
Welcome to Winner Sports Beat.
For the most comprehensive sports news broadcast, tune in to Winner Sports Beat, weeknights at 7:30 p.m. Sports Beat features the latest scores, news highlights, and interviews that keeps sports fans informed on what's happening in sports. Winner Sports Beat captures the pulse of the sports world. Watch Sports Beat for exclusive inside information and breaking news on what's really happening behind the scenes. Sports Beat covers the big games, the big plays, and the big wins. Watch Winner Sports Beat weeknights at 7:30 p.m. with daily repeats.
The Dream 11 St. Lucia T10 Blast returns to the beautiful Helen of the West Indies for the 4th edition from May 10th to May 24th. This time, the tournament features 8 teams competing for the coveted Dream 11 St. Lucia T10 Blast trophy. Defending champions Monrepo Stars will take on South Castries Lions, the Micoud Eagles, Central Castries Mindu Heritage, Choiseul Colpots, Babano Leatherbacks, the Soufrière Youth and Sports Council, and Vieux North Raiders in their quest to win. The action takes place at the world-class Darren Sammy Cricket Grounds with 2 matches daily, starting at 12 p.m. and 2:30 p.m. Admission is free. Come join the excitement. All Dream 11 St. Lucia T10 Blast matches will be broadcast live on Winners TV, St. Lucia's sports leader.
It's Opinionated, the sports show where your opinion matters. Call in to share your opinion on the hottest sports topics. Informative, impactful, and interactive. In-studio guests, news updates, call-in segments. Opinionated.
The only sports show where your opinion matters.
Wednesdays, 8:30 p.m. on Winners TV.
Welcome to Winners Sports Beat.
For the most comprehensive sports news broadcast, tune in to Winners Sports Beat, weeknights at 7:30 p.m. Sports Beat features the latest scores, news highlights, and interviews that keeps sports fans informed on what's happening in sports. Winners Sports Beat captures the pulse of the sports world. Watch Sports Beat for exclusive inside information and breaking news on what's really happening behind the scenes. Sports Beat covers the big games, the big plays, and the big wins. Watch Winners Sports Beat weeknights at 7:30 p.m. with daily repeats.
Meters and 74 centimeters. This is the women's triple jump world record, longer than 3 SUVs parked end to end. Some say that's impossible. We say, wait and see. The 2023 World Athletics Championships live in Budapest, Hungary. Witness the wonder.
The Dream 11 St. Lucia T10 Blast returns to the beautiful Helen of the West Indies for the 4th edition from May 10th to May 24th. This time, the tournament features 8 teams competing for the coveted Dream 11 St. Lucia T10 Blast trophy. Defending champions Monrepo Stars will take on South Castries Lions, the Micoud Eagles, Central Castries Mindu Heritage, Choiseul Colpots, Babano Leatherbacks, the Soufrière Youth and Sports Council, and Vieux North Raiders in their quest to win. The action takes place at the world-class Darren Sammy Cricket Grounds with 2 matches daily, starting at 12 p.m. and 2:30 p.m. Admission is free. Come join the excitement. All Dream 11 St. Lucia T10 Blast matches will be broadcast live on Winners TV, St. Lucia's sports leader.
This is Budapest, the magical capital of Hungary. And in August 2023, home to the World Athletics Championships, where everyday heroes meet superheroes. World Athletics Championships Budapest 2023. Witness the wonder.
For the best cricket updates, analysis, and an in-depth look at the sport around the world, tune in live to Winners TV every Tuesday from 8:30 p.m. for Cricket Nation, the only show dedicated to cricket in St. Lucia. From the nations to the clubs, the leagues, and the players, Cricket Nation is your window to the world of cricket. So be a part of the nation every Tuesday live from 8:30 p.m. on Winners TV.
9.58 seconds. This is the men's world record for the 100 meters sprint. A running speed of 44.7 kilometers per hour. But just how fast will they run in Budapest? The 2023 World Athletics Championships live in Budapest, Hungary. Act fast and witness the wonder.
the Dream 11 St. Lucia T10 Blast returns to the beautiful Helen of the West Indies for the 4th edition from May 10th to May 24th. This time, the tournament features 8 teams competing for the coveted Dream 11 St. Lucia T10 Blast trophy. Defending champions Monrepo Stars will take on South Castries Lions, the Micoud Eagles, Central Castries Mindo Heritage, Choiseul Colpots, Bamano Leatherbacks, the Soufrière Youth and Sports Council, and Vieux North Raiders in their quest to win. The action takes place at the world-class Darren Sammy Cricket Grounds with 2 matches daily, starting at 12 p.m. and 2:30 p.m. Admission is free. Come join the excitement. All Dream 11 St. Lucia T10 Blast matches will be broadcast live on Winners TV, St. Lucia's sports leader.
To the Darren Sammy Cricket Ground in match indeed number 3, match number 5 in the 2020 Dream 11 St. Lucia T10 Blast Cricket Tournament between the the Micoud Eagles, and the Vieux North Raiders. The Vieux North Raiders batted first and they amassed 76 for 8. And it is the turn of the Micoud Eagles to reply, Gary.
As we see the headshots from the Micoud Eagles players there, and that batting would rely heavily on Chauvin Charles, and we have Moving Wells also. Winel Felix, good batter too, and Lance, we know not Lance but Mulan Sami could also bat as well, and Darren Sami Jr. also could bat, but that batting would definitely rely heavily on the 2 senior-most batters there, which are Moving Wells and Chauvin Charles, who are in the top 10 run getters of the history of the T10 Blast, Dream 11 T10 Blast in St. Lucia. So it's not going to be easy. I don't think the Vieux Raiders, the North Raiders, are just going to roll over and die, Greg. They are going to bowl, make it as difficult as possible for the Micoud Eagles to get over the line here, Greg.
Yes, certainly they would have to try to make a match out of it, but certainly it would be disappointing for them, having had a good start. Some 15 runs came up this over, and then they just basically fell away.
Yes.
Just getting 76 at the end. So certainly a below par score. We have seen in the matches, some of the lower totals that we have seen, teams have gotten at least into the 90s.
Yes, very much so, Greg. That's very, well, a below par score, 76 for 8. As we see, so Moving Wells, he batted very well in the last game, scoring 46 or 45, somewhere around that area, not out. Chauvin got a start, made about 20 odd or close to 30. But we see the Tyrone Theodore, who swings the ball away from the left-hander and into the right-hander. So he has been consistent in this tournament when he has played. So they will definitely be looking to make some early breakthroughs, Greg, to put the Micoud Eagles batting lineup under a bit of pressure.
Well, certainly if they can see the back of these 2 openers very early, I think we're going to have a really interesting game. But if either one of them hung out there in the middle for, say, anything from 6 to 10 overs, I think it would be, for 8 overs thereabout, I think it would be over by the shouting.
As we see, Tyrone Theodore is going to bowl the first delivery to Chauvin Charles. That ball is wide outside the off stump, moving away, and Chauvin just throwing the kitchen sink at it and missing it. Umpire signaling wide, so they've opened the account, the extras column, and Micoud Eagles 1.
As this is something we have seen for most of the games, that the teams tend to open the account with an extra being gifted to them.
A cut shot being played outside the off stump, and Chauvin Charles just missing that delivery outside the off stump as the ball goes through to the keeper, Junior Peter here. As we see the bowler, Tyrone Theodore, just trying to get his radar right. So just correcting the lines there from the previous delivery. So he's back to business. Pole shot being played through the vacant mid-wicket area as we see the mid-on fielder just coming around and preventing the batters from taking a second run. Chauvin opens his account.
Yes, Theodore last year was very impressive with the new ball. It creates quite a bit of problems for the opening batsmen. But this year he has not been as consistent as he was last year. But the first game, Gary, we did see him bowl, a few really good deliveries, really a few unplayable deliveries, one would say.
Yes, last year he bowled a few unplayable deliveries. As you could see, he's ensuring that he gets his fielders in the right position. As we see Boss Al at first slip, Greg. Beautiful shot being played by Mervyn Wells here, pulling that ball to the vacant square leg region there, deep square leg region, and helping himself to a boundary, helping his team to its very first boundary. The score moves on to 6 in the first 3 balls, and Tyrone Theodore will definitely be looking to stay away from that area.
Yes, Mervyn was into position very quickly there. Shot delivery into the body, but just really whipping this one into the mid-wicket region for 4. And again, this one forward of square this time, and Dwight Thomas is the one doing the boundary rider duties, able to cut it just to 1 run. So Theodore definitely bowling a bit too short on this occasion.
Yes, he has bowled 3 short deliveries. 1 to Chauvin Charles and 2 to Mervyn Wells. And he's a lot more dangerous when he carries the ball up to swing. Another beautiful delivery there as we see Arwin Edward making a fine stop there, preventing a second run. A good stop by Arwin Edward.
Yes, certainly showing his body. And good grass coverage there. You can afford to do that, Gary.
Very much so. The Darren Sammy Cricket Ground, beautiful ground, Greg. As we've seen, the pitch has held up. This is the 6th game that has been played on the very same wicket, and the wicket still looks very, very good, Greg.
Yes, certainly. Although we've seen just about 2 deliveries perhaps misbehave when you say misbehave in terms of keeping on the low side in the first game. But other than that, it has been a really true wicket.
And a good delivery there by Arwin, not by Arwin, but by the bowler Theodore, hitting Mervyn Wells hard on the thigh here. Doesn't look like Mervyn Wells is wearing a thigh guard. He got hit hard on the thigh here. I'm certainly sure he's going to see that ball mark a little bit later. But not showing any sign of pain here as we see Al trying to find out who's going to bowl the second over for him. As we see, it looked like number 10, Rick Moses, is it? Number 10, Rick Moses, is going to be bowling the second over for the Vieux Fort North Raiders.
Well, last year we saw Boss Al bowl a few overs, and he was successful at that. Do you think that Boss Al is going to take the ball this time around? Needing to make something happen?
I do think if Boss Al has bowled his bowlers and they're struggling to take wickets, you may just see Boss Al warming up to bowl. He should be pretty warmed up. He ran a few singles. Well, we wouldn't call it singles, but incomplete runs. Let's see Al with number 47 on his back. Well, Rick Moses now beautiful delivery outside the off stump here. That ball just moving away, just testing the technique of moving Wells here, and moving Wells just following that delivery outside the off stump, and that has resulted in a dot ball. But like we were saying, that's a very famous number that Boss Al has. Maybe he likes doing a bravo. He has number 47 on his back. The ball is whipped off the toes of Moving Wells, and Moving Wells is not going to even waste his time running too hard. As we see, that ball just goes into the boundary, the vacant deep mid-wicket boundary here. Micoud Eagles go on to what, to 13 without loss. Moving Wells and Chauvin Charles, they've been batting very well for the Micoud Eagles, and they look like they've started to do so again in this game. Moving Wells, very accomplished batter, Greg.
Yes, he is indeed. Just going across the line a bit there rather than holding the ship and looking to go straight down.
And he's now rehearsing hitting that ball inside out. Very strong guy, short in stature, small in stature, but very, very strong guy. He has played a lot of cricket. He has played for the Windward Islands. Matter of fact, he was part of the team that won the Super 50 back then. As we see, Rick Moses is going to be bowling to Moving Wells. Moving Wells hits that ball through the covers, picks out the fielder at cover, and not able to find the gap here. So we see the fielder being cut Edward. So there's been 2 dot deliveries, 4 from 4. So if Rick Moses is able to get 2 more dots, that would have been a very, very good over being bowled by Rick Moses. Good second over, but that's yet to be seen, Greg. Moving Wells works that ball off the legs here stylishly, Greg, and he gets another boundary. Moving Wells looks in very, very good nick, Greg. Looks very classy too, as Rick Moses stops with his hands on his waist, wondering how Moving Wells got that ball through to the leg side, but that ball was badly lined up, a little too much on the legs of Moving Wells. And like we said, Moving Wells being a very accomplished batter, he helps himself to another boundary. He moves on to 13.
Yes, secondly, the second ball that is, he has clipped onto the onside and has gotten 4 runs for. And this is the 3rd one, so apparently Rick Moses loves that shot. This one is clipped off the toes again, and it is gone down to the backward square, vacant backward square region for 4. So what was shaping up to be a good over, Gary? I think you put the commentator's curse on the young one.
Yeah, he wasn't able to
be a very expected over in the sense that he considered some free boundaries.
Yes, he wasn't able to close off the over properly, Greg. The last 2 deliveries resulting in 2 boundaries here. Moving is sped on to 17 from 9 deliveries. Chauvin Charles have not faced too many deliveries. He's 2 from 3, with Moving Wells getting the bulk of the strike. As we see, Tyrone Theodore is going to bowl his 2nd over. So he bowls 2 overs up front. That's how Boss Al has been using him. The current rate at 10.50 runs and over. They only require 7 runs and over from here. As we see, they need a further 56 runs to get over the line, but they have not lost a wicket. And like we said, those 2 batters have been very, very good for the Micoud Eagles, Greg.
This one getting the outer edge of the bat, goes past the fielder Anthony at the point region. And they're able to cross for 2. So another good start there for the Micoud Eagles by Moving Wells and Chauvin Charles. And these 2 would have played quite a bit of cricket together from one repo, so they certainly would have known each other.
Yeah, very much so. They both are 2 former national players. As we see, Tyrone Theodore, again, Chauvin flashes outside the off stump and misses that delivery. I think Tyrone Theodore would call himself a bit lucky for that not to be called a wide, or not even Chauvin get some bat on that ball. As we see, he just comes back to his mark. He's conceded 10 runs in 1.2 overs, Greg, a little bit on the expensive side. I do think that he's probably having some issues with the run-up also, or with his run-up also, Greg, as you could see, that he really chips when he gets closer to the umpire. So the run-up not being as fluent as he would like. As we see, maybe Boss Al probably going to do some bowling today. It would be nice to see Boss Al turn his arm over, Greg.
Well, so he needs wickets, so if he figures he might be one of the better options, he has to go for it. But much better over so far there by Theodore.
Yeah, Theodore has come back well in the second over. We have, as we said, Boss Al is standing at slip. If something goes to the right of Boss Al, do you think he's going to take a diving catch like Mulan Sami?
This one is in the air.
Brilliant effort there by the fielder there. Good effort there by him. Number 19 in Dexter Solomon, trying to ensure that he at least got a hand to that delivery, but was unsuccessful. Nonetheless, Chauvin Charles comes back for 2. Back to my question, Greg, do you think that Boss Al will put in the dive if it goes to his left or his right at slip?
I very much so he will. Yes, Boss Al certainly would put in the big effort, Gary.
You see Theodore, final delivery. Good delivery again by Tyron Freed. That ball just moving away. So he'll finish with 2 overs, 13 runs. Good comeback by the bowler. Very good comeback.
Yes, good comeback indeed. We saw him creating, well, what we can say 2 half chances really. Just the ball eluding the outstretched arms of Kurt Edward in the last delivery, and prior to that we saw Solomon really the outstretched effort, but the ball just eluded him. So after conceding some 8 runs in his first over, he really come back well and just conceded an additional 5 in the second. So 2 for 13. I think Al Prince would be pleased with that effort. 6.5 really he went for in his 2 overs.
Yeah, I'm sure Boss Al would be pleased as we see Hilarion Smith getting ready to bowl the 4th over of the inning. Micoud Eagles 26 without loss from 3 overs. They are further 51 adrift of the score. They need 51 from 42 deliveries. Chauvin Charles will take strike to Hilarion Smith. Hilarion Smith looks to deliver his first delivery, and that ball is wide outside the off-stump. Umpire Mathre signals a wide. Not a good start by Hilarion Smith, putting himself under a bit of pressure there.
Yes, certainly starting off with a wide. The extras, just 3 so far.
So Hilarion Smith just has the dip square leg out and the long on. And Chauvin pushes that ball through to the cover area as we see Kurt Edward just preventing a run there. The ball went straight to him. So Chauvin would now want to access the offside there. There's enough space there if he finds the gap.
Once he can go for the inner ring, should be able to get himself a boundary.
And umpire Maffrey just a little bit harsh there on the bowler. Look at the replay to see whether that was a wide, but nonetheless umpire signal a wide as we see Hilarion Smith is bowled only 1 delivery. legal delivery, that is. He's going to try to bowl his second legal delivery. Good delivery there again, as we see Chauvin Charles just defending that delivery, pushing it through the offside, not being able to get a run.
Yes, a good comeback delivery there by Smith. Just the inconsistency where the wides are concerned, but he has bowled some good lines when he has gotten it right.
Another good delivery there. And Greg, you are right. When he has bowled the legal deliveries, he has bowled some very, very good deliveries. So, Hilarion Smith, 3 deliveries, just the 2 runs, the 2 runs being 2 wides. Well, 4 deliveries, just the 2 runs being 2 wides. Ball is hit to the long on-fielder. Long on-fielder comes around, and Hilarion Smith has not bowled too bad. Let's see how he bowls to the inform Mervyn Wells, who's striking at 188, 17 from 9 deliveries. Let's see if the left hand and right hand combination affects Hilarion Smith, Greg.
Yes, certainly some bowlers do struggle when they have to bowl to a left and right hand combination. We saw a number of the deliveries that were called wide when Chauvin was batting was outside the off stump. So let's see if we can make the adjustment.
Good delivery, and Boss Al is down. Good fielding there by Boss Al, moving to his left. So agile Boss Al there, he just throws himself down to the left there, ensuring that he puts that big body behind the ball, Greg. Nothing will be passing Boss Al today.
So certainly Boss Al did answer your question. You were asking whether he would break it the effort. He did prove to you that he's going to put in the big effort, which he did.
Yes, and Boss Al looking, he's at a short third man here. Hopefully another one comes through there. We see he put in another dive, Greg. And that ball goes straight up in the air. And Hilarion Smith says to leave everything for him. He will do the business. Chauvin Charles has gotten out on 8 from 13 deliveries. As we see, Hilarion Smith has picked up his first wicket, and like we said, he has bowled well, Greg, and you could see his figures are reflecting that. Hilarion Smith, that's 6 overs, well 0.5. He's picked up the 1 wicket for the 5 runs.
Yes, certainly good bowling there by Hilarion Smith on this occasion. Chauvin Charles, looking to play across the line and getting the top edge, and the bowler himself took the catch. So the Micoud Eagles, they have lost their first wicket, 30-1 after 4. So with the dismissal of Charles,
we see who's coming in for the Jules, Custon Jules has come in. This is going to be Kurt Edward bowling, Greg. He's going to bowl his first over. Last game we saw Kurt Edward bowling with some pace. He had to send Rohan Lesmore, aka Baja, to put the helmet on. So hopefully we see some good aggressive stuff from Kurt Edwards here. Good shot there by Mervyn Wells. Very good save down on the boundary here. So we see the fielders from the Vieux Fort North Raiders throwing themselves around, and Boss Al just leading from the front here. Boss Al throwing himself around, so his team is following suit, as we see that from the fielder down on the sweeper boundary on the offside, as Moving West continues to look very, very good. He's 20 from 11, Greg.
Yes, shot the ball there by Kurt Edwards, and Moving Wells into position very quickly. Just dispatches this one through the mid-wicket region. Just one bounce over the rope there for 4. So certainly Wells continuing to deal in boundaries, continuing to bat admirably out there.
As we said, Moving Wells, a very accomplished batter, Greg. And again, he whips that, and Boss Al throws himself around to his left again, or his right, sorry. Boss Al throwing himself down on the field. And Boss Al definitely leading from the front as he goes to pick up his hat. As we see the guys on the Micoud bench having a laugh here. But Boss Al is leading from the front, and he has saved his team 3 runs here, Greg.
Yes, certainly. Had that ball gone past Al, I think you would only have to go to the fence to retrieve. So certainly a good effort there. And it looked like he's placing himself right down on the boundary. It would be interesting to see if Al has to run around, what would happen.
Yes, and Al is definitely looking like he's into the game. He's put himself on the 5-leg boundary here. It's the first time we've seen Boss Al on the boundary since this tournament has started. But Boss Al is now at the 5-leg boundary, as we see the batter Custon Jules just missing the ball outside the off stump. So a dot ball from Edward, none for 9 in 0.4 delivers. Moving Wells is going great guns, 27 from 13. He needs to continue in that vein. Wide delivery being signaled by the umpire here. So the Vieux Fort North bowlers looking, well, that's Kurt Edward, a little bit indisciplined here.
Yeah, Kurt certainly not bowling the sort of disciplined line and length we saw. He bowled in the first game. And on this occasion, Custon Jules is without a helmet. So a bit surprising that he has not ask some question of Custon Jules whether he has a helmet back in the dressing room.
Very much so. I don't think it's the smartest thing to do for our batters or players to be batting facing the fast bowlers without helmets. It's not the smartest thing to do.
Especially on this surface.
Especially on a surface like this at the Darren Sammy Cricket Ground. As we see, Micoud Eagles will need 36 from 31 deliveries to get their first victory of this year's tournament. They lost their first game, remember? So they're looking on chasing their first victory here. As we see, they are on course for that, 41 for 1. Moving well, cuts, and he cuts very, very well. That ball, just a late cut, and that ball goes through the field. Number 45, that goes through him is Hilarion Smith, not helping the bowler there. So Micoud Eagles not helping themselves in the field, Greg.
Yes, certainly the captain Prince would be disappointed with that effort, saying that they do not have a big total to play with. So just allow an easy boundary. So Gary will hear a little more from you, and then afterwards we'll be joined by Julian Charles.
Yes, the Micoud Eagles looking very good. Moving Wells has been looking very good throughout the tournament. Like we said, he's been in good nick throughout this tournament, and from the inception of this tournament, he's been in the runs and have been getting runs. But in fact, he's at number 5 in the top run getters here. So Moving Wells looking very good on 31 as we continue to see Hilarion Smith. He has bowled well in his first over, and he continues in his second, Greg.
Yes, Hilarion Smith certainly bowled a very good first over, and we saw him being rewarded, getting the wicket of Chauvin Charles, the captain, and he's in to bowl his second over. And this one is wide outside the off stump, struck firmly to Dwight Thomas on the cover point boundary. Fields cleanly, resulting in just 1 run. But Mervyn Wells Julian certainly has been striking the ball admirably, some 31 off 14.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. A lovely pull shot for 4 a while ago with a thought of authority. Moving, just turning this one again neatly off his legs into the mid-wicket area, showing all his clash and panache. What he's noted for, he's been able to do this over the years for club and country and Windward Islands, and showing how it's done, playing a mature knock for his team here this afternoon. So Micoud in the driver's seat, just some 40-odd runs, 30-odd runs to get, and 29 runs to get in 28 balls with 9 wickets in hand. This should be easy going, but Vieux North will obviously still feel that there is some hope, but the odds are stacked against them at the moment. Yes, looking very easy now for Vieux North. The batsmen are well established, and the Vieux North seem to be just going through the motions at the moment.
Yes, they certainly would need to make further inroads, Julian, if they're really going to make a match out of this. But with the way that Mervyn Wells is batting presently, they certainly need to see the back of Mervyn Wells. This one jogs back quickly, sharply there into Jules, but still able to play it down to the vacant mid-on region. Picks up a run. So Jules Smith, 1.4 overs, Julian, just 9 runs. So certainly he's been bowling a decent spell. And this one just jacked back very sharply there, misses the stump, and the keeper unable to collect cleanly, and they've gone through for a bye. So again, good bowling there by Hilarion Smith.
Yes, indeed, the ball, he's been able to get the ball to cut back into the right-handers, just crumping them for room. Good line, good length, but the batters have been equal to it using good defensive techniques.
So 5 delivery gone so far in the over. Let's see how Smith is going to close the over, but that has been one of the major problems with a lot of the teams. The bowlers unable to close the over and usually result in a boundary of the final ball. And again, this one gives him the charge. The ball comes off the inner portion of the bat, goes past the leg stump and goes down into the fine leg boundary for 4. So a 48ers boundary there to end the over for Kirsten Jules.
Yes, indeed. One would say you put some good mouth on him. This ball was a good ball, but as we have seen so often, the bowlers have been unable to close off decent overs. Unlucky this time, though, an inside edge going past the wicketkeeper to his left and down to the boundary for 4. So it was a big shot, a big wild swing, one would have to say, from Jules, but he managed just to get just an inside edge.
Yes, so in the process of getting those 4 runs, the Micoud Eagles, they have brought up the 53 for 1. So just a further 24 more runs of 24 deliveries. Basically a runner ball, Julian.
Yes, it's easy going, plain and simple at the moment. So Vieux North needs a few wickets. They need a magic bowler. They need an Orion.
So it's look like we're gonna have the bowler.
It's Denley Anthony.
Look like Denley Anthony, number 59. So Anthony would be introduced into the attack. So again, Julian, with Micoud Eagles really in the driver's seat there, the question is how quickly can they wrap this game up, because they lost their first game and run rate can come into play later on in the tournament.
Yes, they would be very much aware of this, and the diminutive moving wells taps away as he waits.
And he goes for a big one. It's up in the air, and Dean is just watching this one sail way over him, close to the Castro stand for 6. So what a way to greet Anthony into the attack.
Yes, we've been saying that moving wells looks very comfortable out there. And this one, a huge 6 in the orthodox manner, climbing the ball, climbing steeply and falling well over the boundary. It must be about 85 to 90 meters hit.
Yes, so they've moved on to what's 59. So 60 for 1, some 17 runs required for victory, and just pushes this one forward into the shot cover region. Edward unable to prevent the single, so good batting between these two. It's not just about the big hitting, but they're prepared to drop the ball on the square area and scamper through for the quick singles. This one is whipped off the pad into the mid-wicket region. They've gone for 1. Fielder is in. It's all it's going to be.
There's some intelligent batting by the batsmen, looking for the big shot, but at the same time, if it's not there, they're just easing the ball in the gaps and running through for quick singles and looking for 2s as well.
Yes, it's very important that is in the 10-10. You have as few dot balls as possible. And this one is fired down the leg side there by Anthony. Wide signal by umpire Cooper.
And we see Anthony trying to use some variations, some quicker ones, some slower ones, predominantly moving the ball back into the batsmen. So good thinking by Danley Anthony.
This one outside the off-stump, looking to cut. Kirsten Jules unable to make any contact. Ball through to the keeper.
Again, a nice ball, good ball by Danny Anthony, pushing it through, more of a length ball this time and getting it under the bat of the cutting batsman. Missing his run, he'll have to start all over again.
This one is lofted into the wide long on region. Then Edward comes around, just 1 run resulting. So some.
Yeah, just going through the motions now. Just some 12 runs to end. Will it be finishing a bang, a flash? No.
This one is split into the mid-wicket region, just 1 run resulting. So the end of first over from Anthony, a bit on the expensive side, some 11 runs coming off the
Yes, indeed. That expensive over, but just one major 6 in it, one major boundary, and then, of course, the quick singles. It's just 11 runs to go. We may very well see the end of the match, the end of this match and this over. Depends on especially how it starts. And it's a new bowler coming in from the far end. And right now the match is virtually over. New bowler is number 19.
Dexter Solomon.
Dexter Solomon is our new bowler.
Yes, so certainly the Micoud Eagles, they are well on the way to registering the first win in the tournament. And big drive outside the Osterman, moving is already walking. So Solomon being introduced into the attack a bit late, but immediately, Julian, he has gotten some success for the Vieux North Raiders.
Yes, indeed. Nice galloping run-up, nice easy strides, clean action, and moving well, looking for the off drive. I thought it was the shot that was on, Greg, but he seemed to have tried to hit the cover off it, tried to hit it a little too hard, trying to clear the boundary for 6, I suppose, getting the outside edge, and the keeper taking a regulation catch. But a good, nice outswinger, one would have to say.
Yes, good delivery there by Solomon, getting the wicket of moving well, so batted very admirably. Certainly has placed his team in a very comfortable position, some 41 of 21 with 6 fours and a 6. So certainly the Eagles are in a position to win. It looks like Mulan Sami, number 25, is at the wicket. And this one just wide outside the stump. Sami looking to drive through the covers.
And Sami trying to score for the first time in this tournament, I think. He did get out without troubling the scorers 2 days ago. So he'd be very keen to make amends.
Good delivery and good shot there. Just push this one back past the bowler, Solomon. But the fielder coming across from the long off boundary, restricting them to just 1 run. So 67. So just 10 runs required for victory. Bit of a wild swing there from Jules. Not making any contact with this one.
Jules certainly makes a lot of effort to try to get the ball off the square. Hasn't been so successful. 9 runs from 9 balls. The best advice to just keep his eyes on the ball and ensure that he makes contact, because he is in fact a strong, big guy and really just needs to time the ball.
This one edges and is out caught. So another good delivery there from Dexter Solomon. This one just pitching just outside the Austin, moving away. And Jules looking for that big booming drive, getting the outside edge. And regulation catch there taken by the wicket keeper. So more success to Dexter Solomon. in his very first over, Julian Charles.
Yes, again, very nice run, smooth run up, getting that shoulder across and delivering that ball on the off stump, and the batsman trying to work it through the offside or through the straight, I believe, was turned around. So by the time the ball hit the edge of the bat, the batsman was facing towards mid-wicket, just to prove how much the ball had left him. Beautiful delivery, and as the sun goes down there, we're having some impact on the bowlers, or is it just the fresh bowler with some new ideas?
And generally, Solomon tends to get a bit of movement when he is bowling with that ball. A pity that he's not given the new ball, Julian. I think he and Theodore would make a good combination.
Right, he's certainly making use of the breeze which blows from left to right.
This one, this occasion, he has gotten a thick outside edge, that Spamfield, and the ball has raced down to the Vic and Foodman region for 4. So again, Solomon unable to close the over, having bowled a really good over, and the last delivery getting a thickish outside edge, ball pitch wide outside the off stump, and it raced down through the boundary for 4. So 71 now for the Micoud Eagles. Some 6 more runs required of 12 deliveries, but Solomon Julian is 1 over. He considered 5 runs, but importantly picked up 2 wickets.
Yes, and 2 vital wickets indeed. Of course, the match is quickly coming to an end, but at least the captain Al will know that he has this bowler in the background anytime he needs him.
Yes, so it looked like Rick Moses, number 10. He's going to come back to pick up the attack. His first over. You went for some 12 runs. So with just 6 more runs required, it could be all over in this over, Jalo.
Yes, indeed. They would not want it to go into the last over.
And this one is struck straight back past the bowler. 1-2 bounces and crossed the boundary rope. Valiant effort there by young Theodore, but unable to cut this one out. So 4 more runs added to the total, 75.
A strong hit by Mullen Sami down the ground, and I've always been impressed with this young player. Again, strong hit down the ground, everything in line.
And this one looking to heave it into the wide mid-wicket area. Ball goes past between the batsman and the stump. So one would see a good comeback there by the bowler.
Good slow ball.
Again, this one is fired into the pads of the batsman. Ball passes between the legs. So good bowling there by Moses, really cramping Mullen Sami for room there.
But Mullen Sami with this big backlift, looking to deposit the ball somewhere 90 yards down the ground, unable to get under it and had to get his feet out of the way.
And this one gets the thick outer edge, and the ball races down through the Vic and Foodman region. Another 4, so the Micoud Eagles, Julian, they have gone past the required 77 for victory. They move on to 79. So the fielders are exchanging pleasantries out there. So a good convincing victory there for the Micoud Eagles.
Yes, a very comfortable victory. Micoud barely breaking a sweat really in chasing down these runs. And Vieux North will have to go back to the drawing board for the next game. But at least they have won their first game, so it's not over as yet. Micoud made some progress, but Vieux North already had some progress, so it's still wide open.
Yes, certainly. Game perhaps wasn't the most exciting of games that we would have wanted.
Very one-sided.
But it was very much one-sided. Beaufort North having won their first game against Monrepo on day one. One would have thought that they would have come back real fired up and put a good display, but that wasn't to be. The Micoud Eagles having lost their first game, certainly would have wanted to put up a better performance and make amends for their loss on day one, and that they were able to do. Julian, you would not want to go too down in a competition very early.
That's
and
right.
Today, what we basically saw, Micoud North having lost their first game, they were able to come back and win. The second one, Beaufort North, they won their first game and they lost the second one today. And Monrepo, who lost their first game, won the first one today, and South Castles, who won their first game, lost the second. So the two teams that won on day one, they lost on day three.
Yes, indeed. And in addition to that, Micoud did bring out the A game today. They bowled very well indeed. As we look at the Micoud Eagles batting performance with Siobhan Charles getting some 8 runs today of some 14 balls, wasn't able to get going. It was not his normal self, but he did hang around and have a decent opening partnership with Mervyn Wells, who played a gem of an inning before being out for 41 of some 22 balls. So he was quite aggressive, very good to watch. Jules was bowled Solomon for 9 of 10 balls. He looked to get on with it straight away before Malin Sami came in and hit two lusty blows. One a beautiful straight drive, the other one at a thick outside edge. But he was not out for 4, and Pamphil was not out for 4 at the end with 79 for 3. Winning the game in 8.4 overs.
Yeah, so just looking at the bowlers there, you had Theodore, who bowled his 2 overs for 13 runs. Rick Moses, 1.4 for 20, a bit on the expensive side. Illyrian Smith, who is bowled 2 overs for 13. I think he bowled very well. It was very impressive. Edwards, that is Kirk Edwards, that is 1 over for 13. Then Lee Anthony bowled 1 over for 14, but Solomon, the more impressive of all the bowlers, is 1 over. He had 4 dot balls in there, 5 runs, and he picked up 2 wickets, and 2 crucial wickets in that.
Yes, indeed. He bowled very well. He got the top scorer in Mervyn Wells, and he got the batsman at the end looking to finish it off with some lusty blows. But he was out, spun all around with a beautiful outswinger, a cut behind.
Yes, so we are waiting the captains and the man of the match to have the post-match interview with our fellow commentator, Chloe Dantes. But overall, Julian, looking at the 2 games today, well, as we have just analyzed the last game, certainly the Beaufort North a below par score, but the Monrepo today, in the first game we saw, they look very impressively.
Yes, indeed. Monrepo needed to do much better than they did the first time. And we saw the captain, Christian Shalry, putting his head down and ensuring that they brought the bacon home.
Yes, and Shadrach Descat, I tell, batted really well when he came out.
Well, Shadrach has shown over the last 12 months to 18 months that he's really a class player. He's playing at a level that's below his capabilities, and so much so that he made his debut for the Windward Islands last year and had a very good season. And he's been in Grenada, where the franchise is based, undergoing further training, and it was clear today the way he was able to hit the ball so crisply. A good-looking left-hander in terms of the way he plays, and then certainly can hit the ball quite hard. And when it comes to the bowling, he's got very good variations as well.
Yes, certainly he was a good addition to the Monrepo Stars today. Really the sort of player that will tick all 3 boxes for you in terms of the fielding, the batting, and the bowling. But just before we go out, Julian, let's just look at the matches for tomorrow. Central Castles versus Swazell.
Yes, that's a very good. That's an interesting match. Choiseul had a bit of a hurdle, a hiccup, one should say, by losing the first match, but that should ensure that they don't take things for granted, because they're one of the better sides in the tournament. And Central Castries is a youthful side with a lot of talent, with McKenny Clark and Akim O'Geese and Arnold. Keegan Arnold and of course the captain Stephen Natram, who is in sublime form, possibly the best batsman on the island at the moment in terms of his form. And it's a lot of batting in there, as well as Choiseul. Well, we know that Jason Simon has been in very good nick over the last 12 months as well, and also we have Vince Smith, who we know what he's capable of. So Choiseul it's going to be a very interesting match, because Choiseul won it a couple of years ago and they were runners-up last year. Central Castries is looking to get some silverware.
Yes, and the second game we will have Babono against Soufre.
Yes.
So that should be another good, interesting game.
Yes, we have John L. Eugene playing for Babono, and Soufre have always been a side that comes, compact as an all-round team. Of course, they have Alfred, they have Julian Alfred, who is a very good player, a very good player at the top of the order. And this year they've got Tariq Edwards with them, a former Windward Irons and under 19, West Indies under 19 player. So for a strong team, as well as Babono, so we'd expect good cricket.
Yeah, so at this point we're going to go out to Chloe Dantes, who is with the two captains and the man of the match.
Is Al Prince. Al, I'm sorry for your first loss, seeing that you guys made the lowest score of the tournament so far is 77.
Well, that's cricket. At the end of the day, we didn't get the score we wanted to, and that's a first time we batted in the history of Dream 11. But that's cricket. At the end of the day, one win, one lose. We have to go back to the drawing board and get back to our basic and do it the right way.
Micoud's bowling was very strong in the beginning. What would you have to say about that?
I would not say Micoud bowling were really strong. I think the batters was just not connecting, because I myself see a lot of short balls that could have go. But at the end of the day, we all are human. We make mistakes. We just have to go back to the drawing board, as I say.
I love your optimism, because in the beginning when you came on the field, you just automatically scored a 4, giving that energy that they needed.
Yeah, that's not afraid. That's what we're there for. We're enjoying ourselves, but at the same time, we have to take the cricket a bit serious, and that's why we're going back to the drawing board. Coming this Monday, it will be our next effort now.
Okay, thank you very much. Best of luck to you. Joining me right now is, of course, captain of the winning team, Micoud. How are you?
I'm elated of getting our first win under our belt after losing yesterday. In tournaments like these, you always want to get off the bat winning. So when it comes down to the business end of the tournament, that you don't have to be catching up. So it's a good feeling winning today, from winning against a team that was on a high from the first game.
Seeing that they had the lowest score to chase right now, how do you feel about that?
Oh yeah, that was the plan. My marquee player going and take the toss for me when he got interviewed said that we were aiming for 70, and that was a talk that we had after our first game, because we bowled poorly and we wanted to improve in that department, and we did that today, and it paid dividends for us.
Now, of course, history in the making, Darren Sammy being elected as captain of the West Indies white ball team. What are your thoughts?
Let me tell you something. I have no doubt that he's going to do a fantastic job. He has done good things for West Indies cricket, even for our Micoud Eagles team. So I have every confidence that he's going to deliver for us.
Well, best of luck to you in the rest of the tournament. Of course, man of the hour, Lance Sammy, performing with 3 wickets. How are you right now?
I'm doing all right.
Just tell me about your performance. How do you feel?
Well, I always try to be the best at everything I do, and then being the MVP from the first year, I'm just doing what I do best.
I'm so happy for you. Of course, here's your trophy. What do you expect from your team moving forward?
Well, the whole aim is to reach to finals and for once become champion, so that's what we're looking for.
Okay, Okay, well, thank you very much, and of course, best of luck to you. This is the final match of the day, the sixth match of the tournament so far, and of course, it's amazing cricket. Don't forget, you can check it out right here on Winners TV. My name is Chloe.
Yes, so you just heard it there from the two captains and the man of the match, Lansami. See, the first aim is at least to get to the finals. So certainly happy Shelvin Charles having gone down in the first game and they were able to bounce back. So generally, Julian, just your final opinion on the day's proceeding?
Well, we had an interesting day today. It wasn't packed with excitement in terms of the closeness of the victories, but the cricket was good. But one thing I will remember is the spectacular catch by Mulan Sami, one really from the top draw, even in international cricket. And, you know, if these are the kind of catches we're going to be seeing, we'll encourage people to come to the cricket locally. And, of course, our regional and international spectators can also, or viewers can also enjoy it.
So we're just going to tell you who's going to be up tomorrow. Central Cashers again will be up against the Sozel Coalpots, and the Bavano Leatherbacks will be against the Sofres Sulphur City Stars. So on behalf of Julian Charles, Gary Maffre, our scorer Roland Cox, and our technical directors, we want to say thanks for joining us, and join us tomorrow at about 5 minutes to 12, where we're going to have another exciting day. So good evening.
Good evening.